Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day is going great. Mine's been awesome so far, and today we have some real crazy news and exciting stuff we're talking about in regards to the Overwatch League. But first, we need to cover this story going down with DreamKazper, because guess what, guys? He is actually back, at least on Twitter. He changed his profile pic, he deleted all of his previous tweets. So what is going on with DreamKazper, guys? That's the question we will discuss at the beginning of the video. Then moving on to the second part of the video, we are going to be taking a look at power rankings. We do have some big ones coming out from community members like Sideshow, ESTNN. They made a great list. And I will overall be breaking down their lists and giving my list in comparison. Then, of course, lastly, we are going to be doing my predictions for the games coming up today. We have some real exciting ones. It's going to be an action-packed video, guys. By the way, real quick, I just want to say shout out to anybody who has been following my Fortnite channel. I know I haven't talked about it too much on this channel, but I recently did hit 100,000 subscribers over there. Currently sitting at 105K, which is awesome. No, I'm not abandoning you guys. I promise. I'm just not going to be uploading every single day like I used to. We're going to be uploading once every other day, stuff like that, just covering the major topics and just overall the games more importantly, because I know that's what a lot of you guys come here for, to listen to the games, what happened, who's doing good, stuff like that. So I'm gonna do my best to try to upload on every single day that Overwatch League is on. So Thursday through Sunday, you can usually expect a video coming out from those days, and then maybe one during the off days. Oh, and also, the giveaway did end yesterday. I will be selecting the winners coming up soon in the next couple days. I will be making a video on it. I probably won't put anybody's public information out there, but if you did win, you will be getting an email. And of course, if you do get an email, you will be able to select any of the items that I have. It is first come, first served. So the way the winners are selected, it will pick 300 random people, and then it will give me an order from 1 to 300, and just whoever gets lucky and gets the early numbers, like 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, you know, will get that order. If you get ranked number 300, I'm sorry, you're going to get the last leftover item, but hey, you are going to get something at least. So we will be announcing that, and of course, we'll get a bunch of tweets coming out from the winners, posting pictures of the items they won, so you guys do know it's legit. But anyways, let's jump into it, guys. Sorry about the long intro. I had to catch you up on some stuff, but let's start off with DreamKazper, because he did come out on Twitter and delete everything he's ever tweeted out and change his profile picture. As you guys can see from the screenshot, literally there's no tweets posted on his account, and the profile picture is different from what it used to be. I believe it used to be a jersey that had number 18 and DreamKazper on it, or a picture of him. I could be wrong, but I remember it being like Boston Uprising themed. Now it's this black white thing. Not too sure what it is, but it does seem like DreamKazper is going to be making some type of return, whether it's to Overwatch, esports, gaming. I think he's going to make some type of tweet, guys, so let's stay tuned for that. Of course, I will update you when it happens. But now let's move on to the second topic, and let's talk about power rankings, because we do have some interesting ones coming out here. Let's start off with ESTNN's, which this did get a lot of upvotes on Reddit, so a lot of the community does agree with it. But taking a look at it, first we have the number 1 ranked New York Excelsior, which you really can't argue with. New York Excelsior is undefeated. Vancouver may be better than them. We don't know yet. We haven't seen them face each other. But because New York is the team from last season, and they are great, they proved that they're a top team no matter what, I'd give them the number 1 spot too over Vancouver. But number 2 coming in, we do have Vancouver, which I do agree with. They've been incredible. They've had some close games, one specifically against Guangzhou Charge, but I also do believe Guangzhou Charge is a very strong team, despite losing to the Chengdu Hunters. As I have already mentioned multiple times, that was a major fluke. And now moving on to number 3, we do have Atlanta Reign, DeFran's team, which again is an interesting spot. I could see putting them at number 3. Personally, I'd probably put them more at like number 5 or number 4. Yes, they did defeat the Paris Eternal, but for some reason, Paris Eternal did not look like themselves in that match. I feel like they kind of choked a little bit because of the trash talking. None taken away from Atlanta. They're incredible. I said it in my last video. They are a top 5 team no matter what right now, and I completely agree putting them up there at number 3. So let's move on now to number 2. We do have the San Francisco Shock, which is another interesting one. San Francisco Shock has definitely had a hard schedule, and they've lost a decent amount of games, but they have also showed up every single game they have lost. They have played Vancouver, they have played New York, and they've lost to them both, but they put up incredible fights, and they were super close matches, so I could see putting them at number 4. Personally, I'd put them more at like number 6, number 7, but that's just me. Moving on to number 5, we do have the Paris Eternal, who also are a great team. Their goats are incredible, and I did mention it earlier, I do feel like they choked a little bit against the Atlanta Atlanta Reign. I could see putting them at number 5, but also I'd maybe put them at number 6 or 7. Moving on to number 6, we do have the Philadelphia Fusion, who have had some crazy matches lately. They lost to the Florida Mayhem, which was crazy. I know they didn't have Boombox, then they lost to the Dallas Fuel, again didn't have Boombox, but then they did get Boombox and they almost lost to the Washington Justice. And I know Washington Justice does look pretty good right now despite having such a hard schedule, but still, they almost lost to the Washington Justice when they had Boombox, and they still lost to Florida and Dallas without Boombox. So, you know, it's hard to judge them, but I would definitely consider at this point in time putting Toronto Defiant, London Spitfire, and Guangzhou Charge all above the Philadelphia Fusion. Moving on to number 7, we do have the Guangzhou Charge, who I definitely think is a good team. Maybe move them back a little bit, put Toronto and London Spitfire above them both, but I would love to see Guangzhou Charge face off against London and Toronto. Those would be some incredible games and definitely give us some insight on the middle of the pack. Moving on to number 8, we do have London, which personally, I know I'm a big London fan, but I would move them up a lot more. I know they lost their first 2 matches, but since then, they have dominated. They have looked like a very strong team, and I would consider putting them at like number 4, number 5, above Philly, above Shock, above Paris. Again, that's just me. Moving on to number 9, we do have the Toronto Defiant, who I would also move up a little bit, maybe behind Philadelphia Fusion at number 7 and above the Guangzhou Charge, and maybe above San Francisco Shock. Regardless though, they're a strong team, and I want to see them face off against somebody like Shock, somebody like London, Paris, some stronger teams. But move on now to number 10, Seoul Dynasty. I completely disagree with this. Seoul Dynasty looked like utter trash last week. Their loss against Boston Uprising was just a joke. They looked so bad. And I'm not taking anything away from Boston, but Jesus, Dynasty, oh my god, their shot calling was awful. I went off on them in a video before. You guys probably all heard it. So I'll go ahead and stop there. Seoul Dynasty, they need to be pushed back at like number 13, number 14. Then moving on to number 11, we do have the Hangzhou Spark, who did come out on top against the LA Gladiators. They did show a resurgence. So they looked really good in the first week, then they went on a bad losing streak, but they came back. So 11, I could see them sitting there. Maybe number 12, put Dallas Fuel above the Hangzhou Spark, because Dallas Fuel did beat the Shanghai Dragons recently, and Shanghai's definitely looked decent too. So Dallas Fuel, maybe number 10, maybe number 11. I do agree with that. They're looking pretty strong, and let's see if they can beat Shanghai Dragons back to back, because if they do, they could definitely crack the top 10. As for the Shanghai Dragons, they're in the same situation as Dallas Fuel. I'd maybe put them at number 11, number 12. Definitely above Seoul Dynasty, but not above Hangzhou Spark. Shanghai Dragons, if they prove themselves against Dallas Fuel this week and they can get their revenge, then maybe I'd put them a little bit higher. Moving on to number 14, we do have the LA Gladiators. I definitely agree with this. They have been slacking a little bit, but they have had hard competition. Moving on to number 15, we have the Boston Uprising, which I completely disagree with. I think Boston deserves to be at like rank number 10, while Seoul Dynasty needs to be rank 15. Like, I don't get it. Maybe they're putting Boston here because they lost to Toronto, but I think Toronto is like a top 6, top 7 team. I don't think that says anything bad about Boston. Boston rolled over Seoul Dynasty despite Seoul Dynasty just playing like crap, and they looked really good, so I'd put them at like number 10. Moving on to number 16, we have the Outlaws. I would consider moving the Outlaws to number 15, maybe even above Seoul Dynasty, because again, Seoul Dynasty looks like a joke right now. Houston definitely needs to win more games though. One against the Florida Mayhem isn't going to cut it, but they definitely did look better there. Moving on to number 17, we do have the Chengdu Hunters, who honestly I don't think is that great of a team. Yeah, they beat Florida and Guangzhou, but that's it. I don't think they're going to beat many other teams during the season, and if they do get a rematch against Florida and Guangzhou, I expect Florida and Guangzhou to win that. Moving on to number 18, we do have Florida. I completely agree with that. Because Chengdu did beat them, I would put them above them. Then moving on to number 19, LA Valiant. Can't disagree with this. Number 20, Washington Justice. I disagree. I would put Valiant at number 20 and Washington at number 18, while Florida's number 19. I've talked about it a lot. You guys have heard what I thought about the Washington Justice. They have the hardest schedule in the league, and it's not their fault that they don't have any wins, because how are you going to win a game when you're new to the Overwatch League and you're going up against the 7 best teams from Season 1 and 7 best teams right now, basically? It's almost impossible, and they've had a lot of close matches against all those teams, so you got to give them respect. So that's all my opinions on this power rankings. Let's now take a look at Sideshow's, which he did tiers, and I do like the tiers. In tier 1, we have Vancouver and New York, and the second tier, we have Shock, Reign, Charge, and Eternal. I could agree with this, but I would move the London Spitfire and Defiant up here, and maybe drop Paris or Charge down to the next one. Moving on to the third tier, we do have Toronto, Dallas, Dragon, Spitfire, Spark, and Fusion. I agree with this. I like all of it, besides some of the changes I said with moving the other teams up. The next tier, we have Valiant, Dynasty, Gladiators, Outlaws, and Uprising. I would move the Valiant down to the last tier, honestly, and I might even move Justice up to this tier, and then leave Chengdu Hunters, Florida, and Valiant in the last one. Overall, they're both pretty good power rankings, but let's move on now, and let's talk about my predictions predictions for today because we have some interesting matches. We have the LA Gladiators taking on the Atlanta Reign. This is LA Gladiators' chance to prove that they are still a decent team in the Overwatch League. If they get rolled over by Atlanta, I know Atlanta's a top team right now, but they need to put up a fight. If they don't, it's over for them. They are a bottom tier team if they can't put up a fight against the Atlanta Reign. I do think Atlanta will win 3-1. Moving on to the next match, we have the LA Valiant and the Philadelphia Fusion. LA Valiant in the same situation as the LA Gladiators. They must put up a fight here. Philadelphia Fusion don't look as good as the Atlanta Reign right now, so if LA Valiant can't put up a fight and they get rolled over 4-0 or 3-1 in a not close set, then it's over for them, and they are one of the worst teams in the league right now, which I already think they are, by the way. Moving on to the next match, we have Toronto and Chengdu. Toronto is going to roll over Chengdu. It's going to be 4-0 or 3-1, not even close. That's my predictions, guys, and that's pretty much it for the video. If you guys did enjoy it, be sure to slap a like on it. Leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you all. I'm out of here. Peace.